things you should know from 103.9 The Fox, brought to you by Thick Landscape Supplies. As we spring into the new season, it's time to get that driveway in shape with tons of driveway material, plus the finest topsoil, compost, and humus. Thick Landscape Supplies, with 2 locations to serve you. Find out more at thicklandscapesupplies.com. Like us on Facebook. Now let's get thick and busy. More charges being filed against the Pontiac woman accused of abandoning her children and leaving them in a filthy, human waste-filled condo. 34-year-old Kelly Bryant is now being charged with welfare fraud after she allegedly spent several years collecting over $29,000 in support payments that were meant for the kids. In Grand Blanc Township, word that a man died when he fell through the ice on a pond while ice fishing yesterday. The man was in his mid-80s, reportedly fell in while in an area near Cantor Creek Trail during the mid-afternoon hours. His name has not yet been released. The newest name in the race to be the next governor of Michigan is its current lieutenant governor, Garland Gilchrist. He launched his campaign yesterday, thus joining a field that already includes Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson and Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson on the Democratic side, former Attorney General Mike Cox, Senate Minority Leader Eric Nesbitt, and Genesee County truck driver Anthony Hudson on the Republican side, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan running in the race as an independent. Pistons beat the Wizards last night, 123-103. The Big Ten basketball tournament tips off tonight in Indianapolis with first-round games. Michigan State, of course, won the regular season title, and yesterday Spartans coach Tom Izzo was named the Conference Coach of the Year. Red Wings will try to snap a 6-game losing streak when they face the Buffalo Sabres tonight at Little Caesars Arena with a face-off time 7:30, and the Flint Firebirds are in action at Owen Sound. Tigers beat the Atlanta Braves down in Florida yesterday in the Grapefruit League. The final there was 3-1. And to cap this one off, the Bureau of Labor Statistics releases the February Consumer Price Index report today, offering the latest look at the inflation rate. That's 5 things you should know from 103.9 The Fox. Forecast today calling for sunshine mixed with clouds and temps up around 46 with winds out of the east at 7 to 9. Partly cloudy skies tonight, about 28 degrees overnight. Lots of sunshine in the outlook for tomorrow with temperatures rising to around 57. Friday, beautiful day. Off and on sunshine, 68, perhaps hitting 70 in some areas. And right now it's 29 in Flint. In Saginaw, also 29.
Get social with 103.9 The Fox on Facebook and follow us. Download the Fox mobile app at ClassicFox.com and we'll follow you.
Yeah, you know that Ted Nugent Mofo tour sold out 23.
Yeah, the Adios Mofos tour.
Yeah, not so fast. We've got tickets to give away this hour. Stand by. Something wrong with the world today.
So we get going on a Wednesday morning. Have you gotten your unpaid toll tax text yet today? I'm tired of those things. Everybody's getting them. I get about 2 or 3 a week of those things. You haven't paid your taxes, and this is our last warning for you. Whatever. I don't cross any of the bridges there that are tolled. Actually, I haven't crossed a toll bridge. It's been a long time. Did it a couple of times in Chicago. Used to do it in Maine when I lived there, but rarely ever any other time. So here comes Rob Suka in from Finland. He is among us on this Wednesday. He's here on YouTube. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right now as part of our regular simul stream on days that don't start with a T. And we are in the process of counting down the days. We only have 7 more days of winter left, 7 more full days of winter left, and then we will be springing into spring. And this weekend is going to be a beautiful preview of that here this weekend. Friday, Saturday, 60s, close to 70, maybe hit 70 both days. Although it's going to be a little bit nicer on Friday than Saturday, which is more of a rain thing. All right, let's take roll here. We've got Canada. Well, Canada Dan is here. Getting arrested because he's another guy who never pays the tolls when he goes across these bridges, and he drives all the time, so he has that chance to have that happen. Also on YouTube is Tina. Good morning, New Jersey. Also joining us, Linda from the township. Morning to Linda and to Chris. Good morning, New Mexico, who is also here. Ohio Kim is checking in. Good morning, Ohio Kim. Also on YouTube, where everybody seems to be this morning. I don't see anybody anywhere else. In fact, even Sheila bringing the sunshine on YouTube is here, and so is Eric from California, where the sun is usually shining. Maybe not this early hour of the morning, but hey, everybody is here on our YouTube live broadcast. We do still have Facebook and Twitch as your options, but of course, if you do that, then you only see the people who are on that particular platform in terms of our chat. People on Facebook will see the Facebook comments, and only those. People on Twitch will see the Twitch comments, and only those. It's 29 degrees right now here in Flint, Michigan, USA, the home of the formerly crappy water, on what is designated as National Girl Scout Day. National Girl Scouts Day today. Now, they are famous for turning out fine young ladies in a number of respects, but the only time that we ever really kind of respect what they do is when it's time to buy their cookies. You got a favorite? You got a favorite Girl Scout cookie that you enjoy? There are about 3 or 4 kinds that I could go with and make a meal out of, unfortunately. I could do that. All right, I guess it's going to be 60 and rainy in Culver City today, reports our live and local man on the scene. That's Eric. Basit is here. We've already established his identity as the guy with the cricket stick. That's Paul McCartney. Remember last time he was here under that name, and I actually remember that. 75 Fahrenheit, he says there, and it rained a lot last night over there. Tina prefers the tag-alongs. If you're talking Girl Scout cookies, that's what she goes with, tag-alongs. I've always liked the shortbread. I used to like them when they were a little more sugar shortbread, but even when they stopped with the sugar being a little more amply sprinkled on those cookies, they're still awesome. Eric loves the peanut butter patties from the Girl Scouts. The peanut butter patties. I better watch out. I'm starting to get hungry right now just talking about that. I'm telling you. Wednesday morning here, midweek, and Basit says, Paul McCartney says, Tina keeps a walking shower head. Wherever she goes. Well, she certainly became famous for that. Some people, sometimes you pigeonhole people into a category, and you tend to remember them from that day forward forever, no matter what they might have accomplished in life. And Tina has accomplished and continues to accomplish a whole lot in life when it comes to particularly helping people. But everybody here seems to know her for the stories from the shower. Trojan 1979 was an RE20. I have no idea what that is. Is that a kind of a Girl Scout cookie? I have no idea what that is. Back to Johnny and Steph in the studio in Flint, Michigan, several miles to my south. Oh, that's my microphone? This thing here, what is this? I never even looked at this. This is a 309A. This is an EV 309A. Okay, time for the music to end. At some point.
Flint's classic rock.
Classic rock.
103.9 The Fox.
Now, Paul McCartney would like a Gibson Les Paul if you can get one. That's a guitar. I do know that. And some Thin Mints. A guitar and some Girl Scout cookies. Guitar and Girl Scout cookies sounds like a nice combo. Really does. Absolutely. Now, Eric's got a friend on Facebook with a Girl Scout daughter in Florida named Kinsley. Outstanding. Ask her next time that you see him or talk to him, ask how many things she's learned in the Girl Scouts besides how to market cookies, which has always kind of like been the thing. Yeah, this is a 309A here. This is a station-issued, this one I don't own. This is a station-issued microphone. Most of the equipment that we use on the air is stuff that they furnished me with here in my home studio. I had to keep looking because the name of the thing is on the side here. I keep looking. I keep forgetting because nobody ever asked me about that. You know, as long as I can be heard on the air, a lot of people don't really care about what the model is or what it looks like, or, you know, they don't really have that real fine-tuned sound mode in their heads to think about that. As long as they can hear me saying what I need to be saying. As long as the information I'm saying is right, that's all they care about. Stock up on the Thin Mints, Eric, and gift it to the group here. You know, that sounds like a good idea. That's another thing I like, the Thin Mints. There are a couple different kinds of that. The shortbread, the Thin Mints, and there's one other kind that I can't remember that's got some chocolate in it. I forget what they call those. But they're really good. Usually the old SM58 handhelds. I probably used one of those at some time too. But, you know, I've been working at a bunch of radio stations in the course of decades, and I've never really paid attention to what microphone I was using. Just hand me a microphone and I'll speak into it. I do have another one over here to my right. I could show it to you if you're interested. Since you're interested into microphones, I'll show you a Yeti mic with a blue screen here. This one. There's that. Right there. Use that a lot of the time when recording stuff. Now here comes, she's using her own microphone right now, Royal Rachel in Facebook land. Good morning, Royal Rachel. And also on Facebook, American Dan has joined us. So you guys can't see their comments because they're on Facebook and all you guys are on YouTube, but there they are. Royal Rachel and American Dan walking in together. Nice to see both of you. What's going on? How's everything today? Getting ready for the big spring onslaught this weekend for at least a couple days. I mean, it's a nice preview. We're expecting it to be up and down kind of stuff over the next several weeks. That transition from winter to spring season is always a little bit volatile with the temperature and the rest of the conditions. But it looks like it's going to be a lot smoother transition than the last couple of years have been. Here's Johnny. Speaking of smooth.
Foxhole's Johnny and Steph on a Crazy Train Wednesday version of the Foxhole Morning Show. This isn't crazy. This is cool. National Geographic, of course, knows that all skiers and snowboarders are not necessarily done for the season, even though this is spring. Look, this was my favorite. When I was a skier, this was my favorite time of the year to ski.
Yeah?
Hal, he reminds me that the world hasn't totally gone crazy. I tell you what, you kind of got to hang on these days. It's like being one of those Cedar Point coasters.
I love skiing on that fresh snow and starting the season off that way. And then, here and there once in a while, and then spring. Spring up at Boyne is a huge deal. And we used to go up there for that all the time. And now, the magazine, National Geographic, publishing a list of 7 places with, quote, some of the best spring and, quote, summer skiing.
Yes, Royal Rachel, she says one piece of stability, and she's referring to us here. She's not referring to just me, but the whole specter of us being here every day somewhere at this time of day is the only piece of stability in her life that she knows. I mean, she's a mom to a couple of sons. She knows what it is to have to really fight hard for stability.
It's up and open. Mount Bohemia, if you're one of those skiers or snowboarders who are not done for the season and you want some spring stuff, that's the place to go. Most of the ski areas have a spring fling of some sort.
Yeah.
One in Boyne is called the Spring Fling, I think. And there are others. I think you and I were reading about another one the other day, too. I can't remember.
I remember us talking about one.
But they're all over the place. I mean, if you're looking for the one in Boyne is kind of legendary.
Yeah.
They even have one part of it, which I really loved. Everybody stands around and watches this. They build a slush pit at the bottom of one of the hills. And you ski
Can't even pack a bag on a flight without paying anymore. Even Southwest has succumbed to the financial pressures of today.
I didn't get in that. I just watched it and
Okay.
made fun of the people who were doing it.
I'm sure.
I, however, decided to go down on an inner tube. They have an inner tube run there.
What could go wrong there, huh?
And it ends with...
Since you're talking about flights, I want to talk about something on one flight that's happening that's been a very disturbing trend, and the airline wants it to stop, frankly, moments from now.
It went up and flew up in the air above it and came right down on my head.
Ooh, wow.
It was the first and only time in my life I've actually seen stars. I saw, how you
Yeah.
popping lights.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. That explains a lot, actually.
When we talked about the Spectre, we've got Linda wondering if it was Phil or Ronnie Spectre.
What year was that?
And everybody else. Well, that was, holy cow. That had to
Connecting flight. Well, this has got something. This is a little bit more troubling than that.
So, every bit of 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
71 is the expected high today in Phoenix, where Hot Jim is reporting on YouTube. Morning, Hot Jim.
Foxhole Morning Show. Johnny Burke and Steph on the way.
Like we said, Ted Nugent had that Adios Mofos tour back in 23 that sold out. Well, not so fast.
Nope.
It's coming back. We got 6 dates coming up in Michigan. We've got the one in, was it Freedom Hill?
Freedom Hill, yes.
We have tickets for that. It's one of the prizes that you're going to be offering, correct?
You betcha.
On Steph's Fox Flashback, which is about a half an hour from now, and you get to choose your prizes when you win it here this morning on the Fox.
And this hour is a service of
Here's what's going on. Air India. Air India wants its travelers to use lavatories only for purposes they were meant for. A flight to Delhi returned to Chicago, left Chicago, was headed for Delhi, turned around, came back because 8 of its 12 toilets got clogged. The flight was 5 hours into its flight last Wednesday when the decision was made to return to Chicago as a result of 8 clogged toilets. And once the plane landed, they discovered, the workers did when they had to go through and try to fix them, that those clogs had been caused by flushed items that included plastic bags, rags, and clothing items. An Air India spokesperson said in a statement provided that the airline wishes to, again, urge passengers to use lavatories only for the purposes they are meant for.
Systems are certified to reduce more than 90 contaminants, including lead, arsenic, and PFAS. You won't get that with other firms. Pelican takes pride in being your longtime local water expert.
And Basit, a.k.a. Paul McCartney, says that India does have a bad hygiene problem, he says. It's a little closer to that scene than we are, but we'll take him at his word for here. Let's go on to see what's going on, because I think... No, that's way down there. I don't need that one. We'll get to the traffic in a second because, you know, we don't want to mess up Rob Suka's rhythm, and he knows that that's when we do traffic. See, once again, here's Hot Jim mentioning Tina in the shower. You know, see what I'm saying? Some people get pigeonholed into one particular label and image. And Tina has acquired that since she's been here. And I guarantee that when she first started being with us, she never thought this would happen. The stories from the shower put you on the map. Paul McCartney still have gigs, asks Rob Suka. Yeah, he does. He just finished a tour just some weeks ago. At the moment, our situation that we had going in Genesee Township has cleared up. We have no reports of anything amiss on 75, 475, 69, or 23. And those Vehicle City traffic updates are always there for you at classicfox.com/traffic. Throughout the day, look for those. And if you spot a crash, let us know at 810-230-WRSR. That is 810-230-9777 to be a traffic tipster on 103.9 The Fox. Get you smiling now. We got to do that. Let's get you smiling with this sleek-looking guy named Indiana. It's a Pharaoh hound who lives in Pasadena, Maryland. The dog's name is Indiana. There you have Indiana. Smile source today from the 365 Dogs calendar. I bet that dude's graceful when he's running. Watch this dude get the zoomies and see what happens. I saw it just this morning, in fact. I happened to see a video of 2 dogs who live in the same house. One of them appears to be something like a Maltipoo or something like that, and the other one's a Dachshund, and the Maltipoo breaks out into a series of endless zoomies down the hallway at home, and the Dachshund is trying to keep up and having lots of trouble. Waiting near the time clock, Hot Jim is, because Amazon does now... Here's the guy who's over here trying to battle all of the things that Amazon's policies make him do. Waiting near the time clock because Amazon doesn't allow a clock in until 3 minutes before the shift now. Until 3 minutes before the shift. So you have to just kind of stand there, despite the fact that you are one of those employees that others kind of just get annoyed at because you're so diligent. I'll get there early, no problem. I'll get ahead of the game, and then you have to stand there, hurry up and wait because the time clock can't be punched until 3 minutes before you're supposed to start your shift. So you're just now getting started with work, heading up the robot army right now. How long do you work today, Hot Jim? That's right, Linda, remembering the old Motown song from Ardeen Taylor. And I actually had an acquaintance who arranged that song. The late, great arranger Dave Vandepit, who was a Motown arranger who was responsible for the entire arrangement of the What's Going On album that Marvin Gaye did. But he also did that one, Indiana Wants Me, Ardeen Taylor, from the old Motown days. Carrie got yelled at for clocking in early at Lowe's. See, here we go. We just loaded with these ambitious people that just can't get ahead because the man won't let them. Say, damn it, don't clock in until you're supposed to, not early. That just pisses off everyone else. Tina Jr. got yelled at for clocking in early at Lowe's. Jeez. Man. 4:30, okay, Hot Jim works 4:30 to 3 Pacific time. 4:30 to 3. That's a long day. You work that every day? 4:30 to 3 in the heat of the Amazon forest. Man. Yeah, a Scorpion song, says Rob Suka. Yeah, you're not supposed to hear that. Well, if you do, so what? Facebook is going to get me in trouble, and 4 years from now we'll find that out. They'll strike our replay from the records. Hot Jim used to work the night shift, but they swapped him back to days. Do you have a preference? I know some people really can't function if they don't work overnights. There are a few of those, special personalities to be sure, but you got to have those kind of people who are enthusiastic about working graveyard.
Some time ago when they were casting it over in Holland, Michigan, is coming out in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Starring Nicole Kidman. I'm going to play a little bit of the trailer for you. It's kind of freaky.
Linda remembers when she got talked to for standing too close to the clock waiting to clock out. Hot Jim was not a graveyard guy who's struggling on that. I understand that way more people are in that boat like you than the people who like working graveyard. But there's some people that I know and used to work with who enjoyed graveyard for a couple reasons. One, they were just naturally night owls. And the other is that usually you work graveyard, you don't have any of the brass in there supervising. You never have to worry about talking to them, which is kind of cool. That's kind of an advantage. I've done some overnights in my days in radio, and that was always an advantage. You never had to worry about talking to the program director or the general manager or the owner of the station or any of them. None of them would ever show up at that time of the morning. Meanwhile, Paul McCartney says Twitch is like, here I am, copyright, strike you like a hurricane. I don't think we have anybody on Twitch right now, do we? Tall would never work or never want to work at a graveyard. Well, that is the common term for the overnight shift, is the graveyard shift. You're probably familiar with that. Maybe you aren't, I don't know. But that's what we always called it, was graveyard shift. And I actually have, in our days here on our live stream, been talking to people, and even before the old live stream days, just in general, speaking to people on the phone, working radio, that do work literally in graveyards. And those are people who, as you might expect, probably don't have a ton of sense of humor, but they're nice people. They just like things to be a little bit more low-key for them. Hot Jim had to send shift reports. Was from the midnight shift you had to do that? Rob Suka asking about 20 years radio for me. Been more than that. Yeah. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Absolutely. Like and, most of you, since you're on YouTube right now, just about everybody is, it seems, except for Royal Rachel and I think American Dan also. Like and subscribe once you get here, and tell your friends that we're here, because we want to continue to grow this group, and we've done a pretty nice job of that. It's a slow process, but it always has been for any of the live streams that we've done. Not an actual person at the station doing overnights, is there? No, that's most stations, if not all, other than the major markets, and even some of those are cutting back. Long time ago, it became kind of an interesting way to run a radio station. Under the old FCC regulations, which have long ago gone away, in order to have your license as a radio station, you had to, if you had overnight programming, and not all stations did. The old AM days, you were sunrise to sunset. Generally speaking, most of the stations in the country were sunrise to sunset stations, so you didn't even bother with a nighttime or an overnight shift because the station just wasn't even on the air until 6 o'clock in the morning. The morning guy would come in and sign it on. But if you do have an overnight shift, the rules of the road, according to the FCC, mandated you had to have somebody live in the studio at all times, 24/7. If you're a 24 station, then you got somebody in there doing an overnight shift that's live all the time. Years and years ago, that went away. When computerization was introduced into this mix, and the fact that you could get away with doing a radio show on a computer without having to worry about doing a lot of the manual stuff that we were all there doing in the earlier days. Everything was fired up manually, including each and every individual commercial. They didn't automatically trip from one to the next.
I hate that when they interrupt.
I know, they're so rude.
All right, partly sunny 46 today, partly cloudy 28 tonight, mostly sunny 57 tomorrow. We got a warming trend here. Friday, partly sunny, a little breezy at 68. Saturday, 70. Sunday, breaks the trend. 49. 28 right now at the Fox.
Automation, computerization, all of the modern electronic gadgets that everybody loves, supposedly that have made things easier, but in the same vein, they have complicated things in a lot of ways as well. We talked about that the other day. It's one of the reasons why car repair is way more expensive these days than it's ever been, because it's basically a computer on wheels. And the guys who are the ones who are fixing these cars for you, they aren't, by any means are they considered grease monkeys, like was kind of the term years ago. Now they have to be, if nothing else, they have to be skilled gamers, people that know how to work electronics in some type of efficient, speedy manner. And let me introduce you to a guy who has proven his gamer skills to you. He has just broken a Guinness record by beating the classic Super Mario Brothers with a time of 4 minutes, 54.565 seconds. He is a fellow by the name of Niftsky. I don't know what his first name is, but his last name is Niftsky. And he just did this on Super Mario Brothers. Said that achieving this record-breaking time was the result of years of playing the Nintendo Entertainment System game and hours of refining his technique to include every possible trick to stave off and shave off costly milliseconds. Not sure how that looks on a resume, but it might get him in as perhaps an automobile repairman, because there's a lot of computerization that goes with both what he's doing and what they require. Yes, and Lord help you if the computer goes out. It's difficult. I had to do something yesterday with a company. And this is something that a lot of people who have worked with computerized, the computerized world, particularly if you're working remotely, are probably used to by now, but I'm still trying to get used to. And that is trying to electronically fill out forms and electronically sign them. I had to do that over the last 2 days with a company. I work with a whole bunch of companies with some of the stuff that I'm doing, with either videos that I'm producing, voiceover work that I'm doing, or some of the other stuff that I'm doing when I'm not here. And so an awful lot, in fact, 100% of my work is remotely done. And one of the problems I ran into the other day was I had to fill out and sign an electronic form for this one particular company. And I'm still not used to knowing how to do that. So I was going through all kinds of how to this, how to that, had to download a couple of different apps in order to make it happen, but we finally did. I had to do that in order to get paid by that company, because that's one of the few that required it be done that way. So fortunately, managed to get through, but it was a struggle. Still learning some of the ins and outs of that. Eric used to play Super Mario Brothers on his Super Nintendo NES as a kid in the 90s and loved it. Were you as good as this guy Niftsky was? Were you as fast as Niftsky was? Can you do this in 4 minutes and 54.565 seconds? Carrie went to the lab, says Tina. They were so backed up again because of computers going down. She said, Tina did, that wouldn't happen with pen and paper. Never seen one that crashed. Never once. Never once. Good times, Rapsuka remembers from the Nintendo days. Nothing wrong with old school. No, absolutely not. Other than the fact that there are people out there who think that old school is a bad school because it's a damn slow school. They want to be fast in everything. In everything. Now we finally get on Facebook our friend Bob. Our friend Bob from Iowa, our retired friend Bob from Iowa, who spent 44 years in the workforce and now enjoys every minute of retirement. Something I will never see. Good morning, Bob.
Burton Cummings, and then guess who there on 103.9 The Fox at 7:30.
The voice of my childhood. My mom loved Guess Who, and the voice
So did I.
of Guess Who, Burton Cummings,
Yeah.
will be at the Music Hall Center in Detroit on March 21st.
Okay.
So that's next week.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's coming up quick, isn't it?
It is.
Meanwhile, Billy Joel, the latest to have to cancel his tour or
Yeah.
postpone it in some cases because of illness.
He had a date scheduled at Ford Field with Stevie Nicks. Now, that show was supposed to be on March 29th, but he said in a post on Instagram yesterday that he recently had surgery and is undergoing physical therapy for that. So tickets for the March show will be honored in November.
Because he had a fall on stage. I saw the video of him this morning with that fall that he took on stage.
Go.
And I know so many people that were looking forward to that show.
Well,
Now joining us, here is Boss Lady Penguin, Alabama. Good morning. She's on YouTube, by the way, for those who don't see it.
Something. Physical therapy?
I don't know why he hasn't said what it is. But
Yeah, well, I
that's
mean,
what gives me pause. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll just wait and see what comes out in the
if
end.
you'd like details, the story is up now on the Fox Facebook page if you'd like more info on that.
All right. So, some time ago, we told you there was there were auditions going down in Grand Rapids area for...
I only remember that, Bob, because, like I say, I'm envious of you. The fact that you've been able to, transition successfully into retirement and enjoy it. Again, something I'm not going to be able to see.
The movie itself, they're going to have a special screening coming up on Monday, and the mayor of Holland is going to speak, and it's going to be in a theater. But this is coming out on Amazon Prime on Thursday.
Okay.
Next, the 20, whatever those...
So just keep on keeping on there.
So a week from tomorrow. No.
No, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is the 13th. So, yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Okay.
2 weeks from tomorrow, it'll come out on Amazon Prime. And that Monday before that, on the 24th, I believe it is, there's going to be a theater showing of it in Holland, where the mayor will talk about it and some of those other things. This is I'm not going to be able to play the whole thing. It's like 3 minutes long. But this is a little bit of the trailer starring Nicole Kidman here.
Every day, I get to wake up in the best place on earth, Holland, Michigan. Oh, Mrs. Vanderbilt. Good morning. I look around myself and it feels like a dream. It's just perfect.
It's kind of like a Stepford Wives kind of a thing.
It is. I love the Dutch name they gave her.
Vandergroot.
Yeah.
Was here. Didn't Pastor Bob say the dancing was the devil?
Loggers. It captured Holland very well.
Yeah.
Just all the other kinds. It may seem like we have everything all together. But right under the...
You have to kind of watch this because there's so much of it is just...
Bob's saying he buried 2 neighbors in less than 2 months. That's troubling a little bit because it shows that, well, advanced age is creeping into the crowd.
You know, she lived here for a long time.
Yeah.
And obviously actors and actresses. Look at, well, who was the guy that was on House? I can't remember his name. He was in several movies.
I can,
Mouse.
yeah, I
what I'm
can
talking
picture
about?
him, yes.
That guy is cockney as hell.
Yeah, he is.
And he pulls off the American thing perfectly.
Yeah, there must be special training for that, I would guess.
I guess, yeah. Well, you know, we have American actors who do the English accent, too.
I know.
Not all of them know that well. Kevin Costner horribly.
Basit, that would be Paul McCartney, says that Nicole Kidman is a bad liar.
Foxhole Morning Show. Johnny
Yeah, she's in a movie that's in Holland, that's based in Holland, Michigan. She's in a movie.
Steph's Fox Flashback are those tickets for Ted Nugent, so stand by. That is coming up.
I believe some of it was shot in Holland, Michigan, but I don't think much of it was. But it basically is set there.
Gather your documents now so that AirTax can ensure that you're filed on time. They have a referral discount for savings on next year's taxes, and you can drop off your paperwork from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. No appointment necessary to do that. Call AeroTax at 810-743-5990.
Save more green this St. Patrick's Day at Meyer.
Holland, Michigan, where they wear wooden Crocs.
Red potatoes are $3.99 for a 5-pound.
We were talking about that earlier this morning. Johnny's talking about the clogs they wear, and it says, you know, to me, they look both as uncomfortable as each other. Crocs, clogs, whichever.
And Loftus decorated sugar cookies are only $3.99. We're working hard to bring more goodness to your St. Patrick's Day celebration at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in store or in the Meyer app.
Spring is in the air, so why aren't you? Fly from Flint Bishop and enjoy daily nonstop service on American United.
And Robsuka knows traffic is next. Here it comes.
Parking make FNT an amazing value. Book your next adventure.
Did she come from Canada? Nicole Kidman?
For a hassle-free car buying experience at RPM Auto Sales, we offer special financing for everyone, regardless of your credit history. Say goodbye to
Her marriage with Keith Urban seems to be working out okay, doesn't it?
That's all. Saving money while cruising this summer. Why are you waiting? Visit RPM Auto Sales today and choose from our wide selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. Our team's here to help you get the
Talking about movies being shot in one's town, Boss Lady Penguin says, anyone remember the movie Hooper? Way back in her day. Hooper, remember that? Nicole Kidman is indeed Australian. Is she trying to convince somebody that she's not? Sween Dog is here. Hey, good morning to Sween Dog. Hugh Jackman, also a big cricket fan, says Tall McCartney. Hugh Jackman, who's Australian and a big cricket fan. So then he must know how to score it, because I still don't. There's 2 sports that confound me, because I don't know how to keep score in each of them. Cricket and curling. Neither one of them can I score them.
FlintGlassService.com. Flint Glass Service is still the clear choice.
Traffic. 3.9 The Fox.
Vehicle City traffic.
Scanning the streets and the highways and roads in the region for this Wednesday morning commute. We're coming up crash-free and delay-free at the moment, which is a good news story. But throughout the day, if you need your Vehicle City traffic updates, you're going to find them at ClassicFox.com/traffic. You spot a crash? Tell us about it at 810-230-WRSR, 810-230-9777. To be a traffic tipster on 103.9 The Fox.
Foxhole Morning Show on 103.9 The Fox. Steph's Fox Flashback.
In January of 1969, when the Beatles were recording and filming what became Let It Be, tensions were so bad in the band that George Harrison left the group for several days, prompting John Lennon to suggest that they finish the project with this guy. Let's get into it. From his debut album released in 1970, it's Eric Clapton with Let It Rain on 103.9 The Fox.
That song was on the 8-track tape that was stolen from my car a long time ago. I've mentioned several times, I think, that once upon a time, growing up in Detroit, had a car in a carport next to the garage. It was adjacent to my parents' garage. And it was pretty easy to access that car from the outside because we lived at a corner house and open to all of the potential thieves in Detroit. And one of them ripped the entire 8-track player out of the car, and I think 5 of the 8-track tapes that were in the glove box at the time, and this particular one with Eric Clapton playing Let It Rain was one of them. I always remember that. Every single time I hear this song, I remember that. Think about the great old days. Swing Dog loves that song. George Harrison is Paul McCartney's favorite Beatle, despite the fact that he's taken up the Paul name to be Tall McCartney. George was his favorite. Loves Eric Clapton, though slow hand. Yeah. Bob is in Iowa saying he actually had a whole case of 8-tracks stolen also at some time. Yeah, believe it or not, those things were actually desired by some people when they were out. And that was a kind of a short amount of time. So we're looking at a pretty narrow time window there with those things. Bob, did you ever have the problem that I always had where if you played an 8-track tape and you're listening to a song, a lot of times you get the bleed over from one of the other tracks that was aligned on the tape at the same, but it was the different side of that, if you want to call it a side, of the track of the tape. It's like side 3 of a 4-sided set of tapes, and you would get this real low bassy bleed over from the other one. That was annoying to me. The tape heads had to be aligned perfectly in order to prevent that from happening. Boss Lady Penguin's finding furniture in the dark. Okay. Bob remembers those days of the imperfect sound. A little different than the CD quality and the HD sound that we have been so used to over the years. Tina says that she stayed home today sick again. Can't even curse her out of, oh, that must mean Carrie. Huh? So let me just kind of remind you, first of all, to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube, but also that we're heading into a weekend that's going to be unseasonably warm. Although we're bearing down on spring, we're only 7 days of winter left before we switch over to spring. On the 20th at 5:01 a.m. Eastern Time, Eastern Daylight Time, Daylight Saving Time. Thursday night into Friday morning, we're supposed to get this total lunar eclipse, which is going to be called the blood moon, because when the eclipse happens, the moon is going to look real red, deep, kind of pinkish, and then turn real red. I'm going to try, hopefully, Friday morning to be able to maybe we'll go out Friday morning and see if we can see that, because that might be cool if we are able to do that. And we're also, that particular day, getting ready to go up towards 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to be 68 for an official projected high. We might hit 70 in some areas, and then 70 again on Saturday around here before we slide back down a little bit. But it's, again, the winter-spring transition is always a little bit of an up and down thing, a little volatile. Yeah, the blood moon, we're going to probably see that. And the forecast is showing that we should be able to get a view of it here. We don't always, but we should be able to get one here Friday morning. So we're looking forward to that. And see if you guys can see that. It just dawned on me. I've been sitting here this entire morning, sitting with my arms crossed. I don't know if you guys ever see that in your TV ads for lawyers, but this seems to be, I don't know if I just did this unconsciously or not, that seems to be standard way for lawyer ads to be on TV anymore. They're standing there like, you are going to beat me in court, you mother. All of them are like it. We had one group, there's a family of lawyers here that do that. And they're calling themselves Sharks, and Sharks win and all that. And it looks like there's a bunch of others that are following that whole arms crossed stern thing lead. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, no.
I would enjoy him too. He is one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, for sure.
I've had almost every one of his albums. So.
Yeah. What an incredible legacy, and he's not even done yet.
No, he never stops. I don't think he ever will.
I think he's contemplating another album as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Good for him.
All right, now with the trivia question, the phone number that you will need, 810-230-9777. This is a great feature.
Basit says you got to get me to Hollywood. Why would you want to get me to Hollywood?
Anniversary, maybe a song you haven't heard for a while. Send me an email. I'll see what I can do.
Rob Suka thinks I could be a good lawyer. You know, my mom thought I should be because I like to argue so much. That was true. That was wrong completely. I'm not a fan of confrontation, but she seems to think when I was a kid I liked to argue with everybody about everything. So she's, yeah, you ought to be a lawyer because you love to argue with everybody. You're always right. Yeah. And that whole "you're always right" thing spilled over to the air. Now they're always saying to me, Hal knows everything. My mom always said that.
50th anniversary of Stranglehold.
Now I know this. Packer fan is here. His name is Russ, and he's on Facebook. You can't see that, but there he is. Good morning, Russ. Back from his recent trip to warmer weather. But hey, we got it here now. Gonna anyway this week. Fishing weather.
He's so cagey. He says, listen, I never use the word retire. Okay, Ted, whatever.
Well, he's not the only one that's done
I know, you're right. You are right.
The Who famously started their farewell tour, 30, 40 years ago?
Yeah, it still hasn't ended.
Yeah.
Sween Dog is saying good morning to Packer fan. He's on YouTube. Just about everybody's on YouTube this morning, so you're not going to see a lot of comments.
All right, it's a 50-50 shot, you guys. This can't take too long.
Yeah, pretty easy there.
Check that out. He's pulling the boat out of storage Friday afternoon. There you go. Time is right.
777, call now.
Good morning, the Fox. Do you know which Allman brother played on Layla?
I believe it was Dwayne.
It was Dwayne. Nicely done. Who's on our phone this morning?
This is Chris.
Chris, how are ya?
Fantastic.
Good deal. Chris, did you hear your choices of prizes here this morning?
Yes, and I won a couple about a month ago with the another Ted Nugent answer, so I'm going with the Ted Nugent tick.
I figured you would. All right, Chris, we're going to put your name on those tickets. You hang on tight, though. I need some info off the air. But who just hooked you up with those Ted Nugent tickets this morning?
1039 The Fox.
Perfect.
Yes, good weather ahead. Is that the case also in Massachusetts, Sween Dog? Have you guys got spring coming here early? Like, well, you know, it seems to me, as I recall, our friend Punxsutawney Phil didn't call it that way. He said it was going to be the 6 weeks of winter thing. We did have another groundhog that's locally famous in Livingston County, a town called Howell, at the Howell Nature Center, called Woody the Woodchuck, who also did predict, but he predicted early spring. And it looks like his Doppler's going to win. Snow flurries tonight, and then 60 degrees on Saturday in Massachusetts, says Sween Dog. It's very important for our new entrant on YouTube to have nice days, because he's always got to be outside high on a roof. That's our resident roofer, Tim Fan, is here. Good morning to Tim Fan, here with his yo-yo once again. How you been? Welcome in to our little soiree, which is on both, well, all three, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right now. And Tim Fan now joining the party on YouTube. And again, remember to like and subscribe if you're sliding in on YouTube at any time. We'd love to have that. Won't be long, we'll run off swimming weather, says Bob. Yeah, that's true. I've never done that, but for those of you who want to swim, good luck to you. That'll be fun for you. The people who have pools, and we know some who do, getting ready to pull the tarp off of those things and get them ready to go for a new season. Can't wait, right? Packer fans getting ready to put the boat in the water, and anything having to do with water and warmth is right now something. One of the things I'm going to be doing when it gets warmer is that I'm going to have Jacko outside playing this new game that well, I suppose a new game, but it's one that I had not heard of before, but it's designed to relax dogs. And our friends at Spirit Dog Training Institute, or Spirit Dog Training Academy that I've been working with on this, suggest doing this, and that is basically just sitting out in the yard on a decent day and toss a few treats into the grass, and the dog's job is to try to find the treats. And the dog hunting around for the treats relaxes, that kind of mellows the dog out doing that. And if it involves treats at the end, Jacko will spend all day doing it. So I'm going to try that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to try that maybe Friday afternoon, because it looks like the odds on doing it Friday are way better than a rainy Saturday that's coming up. Sween Dog says the polar plunge last week for the Special Olympics happened. Oh, yeah. You know, those things are crazy. The people that dive into the water when it's freezing air outside. Whew. Sometimes you wonder, I think the water is warmer than the air a lot of those times, but they come out feeling like their heart is going to jump through their throat. But then they're always refreshed. It's kind of like those people that take those ice baths, which I guess are supposed to be good and refreshing and healthy and so forth. I would never do that. Would never do that, these ice baths that they do. Whoops, hold on. Don't tell Tina that, Tim Fan. We don't want to put her into that. You know, we've been talking about the fact that she's of course been pigeonholed into the whole shower thing because of the stories in the shower that have come from her home for so long. But don't be saying she's one of those where you don't even remember that she's still here. You always thought she wasn't. Come on now.
Let's see. Apparently, when Max Gilbert steps into his skis and he digs his poles into the Italian snow and takes his position at the starting gate of the 2025 Special Olympics World Winter Games in the coming days, he will have unwavering support of his family.
Yeah, you did hear your name, Tina. Tim Fan thought you were here, no longer here.
From Michigan.
How cool is that?
He's from Lawton, Michigan. His name is Max Gilbert, and he will not hold.
Oh, this is a different. Tim Fan is here. He's our resident roofer, Tina. You remember her? Him. And he says that he thought that one guy who dresses like a woman and name was Ms. Tina. I'm not even sure who you're talking about there.
Alpine skier on the world stage in Turin, Italy.
How cool.
I don't remember Ms. Tina.
It's going to be televised if you get a chance to watch it. I think there's going to be some I know you can watch it on the internet for sure. I'm just not sure what the TV schedule is. But he is from Michigan, and he is going to be representing us in the Paralympics, which is really kind of cool.
And he gets to go to Italy?
Yeah.
Oh.
All the way to Turin, Italy.
Wow.
Pretty cool deal, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, this is a really big deal for Special Olympian Max Gilbert. So keep an eye open for him. It's 7:51.
Get your 103.9 The Fox bumper sticker now. You can pick one up wherever you see The Fox on the Run or at Guido's Premium Pizza.
When you're knowing and talking about Tina anytime, you of course know that she is based in New Jersey, where a lot of things tend to happen. We've got a new thing that has happened. Johnny talked about it earlier on the air, but I haven't had a chance to tell you about what happened here, because we've had so many instances where people checked out library books back in yesteryear and then kept them. That happened in New Jersey again. Berkeley Township. She's 81 years old. She was going through boxes of her mother's belongings and discovered an overdue library book checked out by her grandfather 99 years earlier, in 1926. Mary Cooper lives in Berkeley Township in New Jersey. Tina knows where that is. Says she was going through a box of items that belonged to her mother when she came across the book Homemade Toys for Girls and Boys by A. Neely Hall. It had been borrowed from the Ocean County Library in March of 1926. Cooper learned that her grandfather, Charles Tilton, had been one to check the book out 1 year before he died. And the Ocean County Library said that this book's return comes at a serendipitous time because the library system is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year. and can do it with this book returned finally. Librarians said naturally that most other libraries are the same way, but this one no longer imposes late fees, which is a good thing because if they had continued to, this book would have racked up 18 grand in late fees over the past 99 years.
Get up to $3,000 savings on select Kawasaki and Can-Am side-by-sides. Big savings now on motorcycles from Honda, Kawasaki, and Can-Am Spider Roadsters. Okay.
Here's the real thing. Tina lives in Berkeley Township. Whoa. Okay. Well, he said you know where it is. Obviously you do. That's wild. That's wild. Mary Cooper, 81 years old. You might be a neighbor. You don't even maybe know. Maybe she is. Tim Fan's roofing is his expertise. Now, Tim Fan and Packer Fan, who of course was on Facebook, might still be, those guys have had their own little thing going on because Tim Fan, who is a roofing expert, was not an HVAC expert, so he called on Packer Fan, who is an HVAC expert, to talk him through a problem one time. So that's what happens with our group here. Teamwork amongst the Hal Raisers it's paramount to success for all of these people who come here. We've had that a bunch of times in a number of cases. Mary Cooper, Sheldon's mom. That's right, her name was Mary Cooper now that we mention it, wasn't it? Mary Cooper. Russ remembers that was a while ago, but he still remembers all of his customers, and he does remember Tim Fan. Tim Fan says you fixed him up, Russ, and you did. I mean, expertise just transfers. You know what? I got to tell you too, Russ. This is pretty close to the time where I've got one more, and I don't have it to show you right now, but I do have one more furnace filter to have to replace while the weather is still on the colder side and the furnace continues to get used. But we're getting to that point where it's not going to kick on anytime soon after about another month. We're going to be sitting through the summer without having to hear it. That's a problem when I'm down here trying to record material for clients, for voiceover material for clients, is that I have to time it so that the furnace doesn't kick on. Because when it does, it usually burns about 8 minutes at a time. And that's just frustrating as hell when you're in the middle of something and all of a sudden you got to stop and just wait for 8 to 10 minutes. Boss Lady Penguin says that she did roofing in her late 20s, early 30s, and was heading to go get a bale of shingles, talking to the fellows, and she was walking backwards and walked right off the roof. Johnny had an incident one time where he was home alone, working on his roof by himself, and he's not a roofer by any means. I don't know why he was up there. But then he slipped and fell off and cracked a couple of bones in his back when he hit the patio pavement, and has been afraid of heights ever since. Have you ever fallen off a roof, Tim? I might have asked you this in the past, but I don't remember. If you did, Tim Fan, have you ever fallen off a roof with all your times up there? Look at this. Here now is our, on Facebook, favorite Marine, Heather from Northern Virginia. Good morning, Heather. Almost missed us. Well, here we are. We managed to get you in here a little bit anyway. Part of you fell off, as a matter of fact, Tim Fan falls off like once a month, he says. Do you have any kind of special padding that you have to wear? If you fall off once a month, I'm starting to worry about you. You know, here you are, high on a roof, and then you fall off, and then you have to get right back up on it again. Many times, you've fallen off a roof. You nailed your hand. This is an interesting little description. He nailed his hand to the roof one time. Oh, jeez. Okay. That's an interesting little side note from Tim Fan.
Skiing spot up there that they love their spring skiing. Apparently, National Geographic says that's one of the 7 best in the country.
Wow.
They love it. They put it on a list for the best spring and summer skiing in the country. There is summer skiing out west, you know.
I know, up in the mountains, right? The higher elevations, yeah.
Yeah. That still hasn't happened in UP, but you never know.
You never know.
Could happen one of these days. Let's see.
Boss Lady Penguin asking you nail gun, Tim Fan?
At the top of the hour. High school girls basketball brackets
Russ is saying, like, maybe stay off a roof,
Semifinals.
Tim Fan. Well, I mean, you're the master roofer. It's hard to keep you off of there, but my gosh.
Tonight, their regional.
I would have thought by now you would have had some kind of safety harness up there if you fell off. I mean, you're pushing your luck if you keep doing it.
In different venues, the Breslin Center is one of them. Eventually is where there's going to be is the Breslin Center. I'm not sure where.
And then you also nailed your kneecap?
You know where your school is anyway. They all get into their regional finals tonight. Quarterfinals come
Again, I want to emphasize when Tim Fan is on the roof, he's high on the roof.
Gotcha.
Which is next weekend already, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe how fast March is flying by.
No, actually, is that next weekend? Yeah, it is. I think. Yeah, it'll be next weekend. Yeah, March is flying.
Man,
Before
we
you
just
know
got into it.
we're going to be in Caseville before you know it.
Oh, don't wish away the summer or the spring.
7:59.
I guess it's news time. I don't know.
News, and with that, of course, here's Hal Maas.
5 things you should know from 103.9 The Fox, brought to you by BioStar Services. Fire, flood, biohazard, or more, BioStar Restoration Service can quickly restore your home or business as good as new. BioStar is independently owned and operated with 24/7 emergency service and discounts to veterans. Call BioStar at 844-424-6782 or online at restorationbiostar.com. The House voted almost exclusively along party lines last night to pass a short-term federal funding bill that would head off a government shutdown through at least September the 30th. It still needs to pass the Senate. Canadian officials pulled back on the threat of imposing an electricity surcharge against Michigan and 2 other states. That development coming after President Trump had said he would double the tariffs on steel and aluminum for Canada as a response. Well, he dropped that threat, and now the original 25% tariffs have gone into effect. Meanwhile, the Department of Education is cutting its workforce of over 4,100 people by nearly 50%. First wave in that process started last evening. Authorities in Flint investigating a deadly shooting that happened early yesterday afternoon near the River Village Apartments. They say the victim was a teenage girl, and the suspect is now set to be in custody. Pistons beat the Washington Wizards 123-103 last night. Big Ten basketball tournament tipping off tonight with first-round games in Indianapolis. Michigan State won the regular season title, and Spartan coach Tom Izzo was named the conference coach of the year yesterday. Red Wings try to snap a 6-game losing streak tonight when they face the Buffalo Sabres at Little Caesars Arena. It's a 7:30 puck drop. Flint Firebirds are in action tonight at Owen Sound. And down in Florida, the Tigers over the Braves 3-1 in the Grapefruit League. And to cap this one off, no Mega Millions winners last night, so that pushes the prize for Friday's drawing up to $277 million. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is $353 million. And that's 5 things you should know from 103.9 The Fox.
3.9 The Fox.
Forecast today calling for sunshine mixed with the clouds and temps up around 46 with winds out of the east at 7 to 9. Partly cloudy skies tonight, about 28 degrees overnight. A lot of sunshine in the outlook for tomorrow with temperatures rising to around 57. And for Friday, kind of a preview of spring. Off and on sunshine and 68. Some areas perhaps hitting 70. Right now it's 29 in Flint and in Saginaw also 29.
Classic Rock Authority.
103.9 The Fox. This hour we have a Foxhole People Poll coming up for you. I'm going to tell you about the 41% THC potency for this pot that you can find in Michigan.
Yeah.
Some people are doubting it, but we'll explain coming up. And another crazy train story. That was not a live giraffe that you saw on I-75.
Oh, good.
How about them Bruins, says Sween Dog. It's been a tough year for them. But I guess the big headline for them is trading their captain away, who's so popular. In his, 16 years he's played for them, and then they traded him to the Florida Panthers? That was interesting. That was, for me, the biggest deal that went down on deadline day. Okay, let's give you a smile source here. From Pasadena, Maryland. This is Indiana. It's a Pharaoh hound. Sleek-looking guy named Indiana. Every dog has his day. Indiana has his day. Lounging and smiling at you so you can smile back and get yourself inspired to have a really good day that inspires smiles all around. That's Indiana right there for you. Guys, thank you very much for your attendance, your attention. Hanging out with me on Wednesday on Facebook or on Twitch, but most of you were on YouTube. And we'll do that again Friday. Of course, tomorrow starts with a T. So we'll be on Instagram, and we'll be in the Hal Hole Saloon, where everybody knows your name. Come on in, sit on down at the counter, spill out your troubles to your friendly neighborhood barkeep. And that'll be me and your friendly neighborhood friends, the Hal Raisers, who will also be here to talk you through a day and get you inspired to go through a Thursday. Great to see you as well, Russ. Happy trails the rest of the day, and good to see you again. Hopefully you'll check in before you put the boat out on the water. Once you get out there, we'll never see or hear from you again. Once you start catching all the fish out there, and it will be time to do that again. Some people are finding out that ice fishing is a little bit difficult. We had one guy here in our area, Grand Blanc Township, fell through the ice and did not have a good result in that respect. We had that in the news earlier this morning. Well, anyway, back to the fact that we're going to be back here again tomorrow morning after you've had a pleasant, peaceful, productive day. This, of course, being Wednesday, it's hump day, so act accordingly. It is National Girl Scout Day today. If you have a Girl Scout in your life, salute her. Ask her what other kinds of things they learn besides how to market cookies, because they're so good at that. And we'll come back and enjoy our time in the Hal Hole Saloon tomorrow morning, where everybody knows your name, and hopefully you, whatever your name is, will be back here again with us with your friendly neighborhood Hal Raiser friends, okay? Okay.